Okay, I think we are live now.
Yeah, I got the notification saying it was live.
Okay, let me just post this on places. Get started. I need to figure out how to like schedule it in advance. Um, sec. Okay, so yeah, I'm here with Malik, and we're so for some background, you did my questionnaire, I think many years ago when you were much younger, and you also did an interview with Jack recently, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, um, yeah, so we're gonna let me I just have a few more things to set up here. Uh, There we go. Okay. All right, so tell me about yourself. What's going on in your life now?
Well, as of right now, I mean, it's Christmas break. Most of my days spent working. Recently I've went on, I went to Texas 2 weeks ago. Last week I went to a wedding. I think the week before, 3 weeks before I had finals. And ever since then I've just been working, but even throughout school, I've just been just straight, just work. So today was actually a nice day to where I could actually meet with some people. And we played at least like 5 or 6 rounds with Uno. I think I won like three out of the six. Um, After that, we ate a lot of food, and then I came back, took a nap, which is the first time in a long time, and now I'm here. Oh, are you asking about where I want to go in life? Like 5 or 10 years or
Well, if you want to talk about that, go ahead.
sure. Right now I'm submitting grad applications. One was due before I left to go to Texas, and then another one's due first, and then the rest of them are due on the 15th. Um, I know that there are a couple of schools that I'm looking at for a master's in math. And then after that, I'm going to go and get my PhD in either mathematical physics or either math and physics, but I'm looking towards mathematical physics. I plan on going to like at least one of the top 10 schools. But right now, I'm just trying to get, trying to go get my master's so I can get at least like decent skills, such as like better. I would say I would want to get better at coding, at least like enough to join a team and probably go to like nationals. So during my summer breaks, I can be able to take, when school is out, I can just kind of go and work at research labs, or I can go and work for uh, government facilities and things like that. Because I've seen like a couple of flyers at my school, like that that needs like I would say there's one for like FBI where you just become I think it's like cryptological analyst, at least for like this summer,
Mhm.
and then after that, I plan on kind of just at least getting some sort of like practice and just it's just like this kind of project that I'm trying to do. Well, I would say the project. I'm gonna say the project now. I wanted to write a book. And so that gives me, because I'm not working so much, like I feel like or I won't be working so much. I feel like that would be like extra time for me to develop like a world, characters, do all that stuff and hopefully publish it like a few years later. So,
What do you want to write a book about?
I don't know, like it's more of like sci-fi fantasy. I feel like I need to read a couple more just so I can get like the just like a prompt for how I want to kind of go about it, develop the character. I what I want to do is like develop characters in a way in how they interact with each other because I wanted to focus on the interactions and like how they evolve over time. That's something that I really want to think about. Um, much less on just like I want to focus like much less on the I don't know yet. I actually have to think about it. But thank you for asking. I but I do know that I want to focus on the characters, to flesh out the characters a lot more.
Have you written a book before or anything?
Yeah, I've started, but because of like school and stuff, I end up having to stop halfway through. But I think that now, instead of like picking it back up, I'm just gonna start from scratch.
Why do you want to start from scratch?
Well, at least for me, it's just once I start something, if I don't finish it, I just have to start back over. It's something that and this is the same way with the games. It's like if I don't finish the game all the way through, then I have to make a new save file and just play it from the beginning. And when I say that, it's like it's after like months and months and months of just not playing it.
Hmm.
It's not just like, oh, I have to do it after a few weeks. No, it's literally of like months of not playing it because I'm also a student, so I don't have free time to just play uh games or I really don't have much free time nowadays.
Hmm. So, are you studying math?
Yeah,
Okay, how'd you get into that?
I realized that I didn't want to study philosophy. I honestly like when I got to my senior year, I realized like how much I love the logic of it, rather the logic of philosophy, rather than sitting there pondering about things. I think I value it, structured chains of thought. And I feel like that math offers a lot more of that than philosophy would. So it's just going to grad school for philosophy. Like even after you get out of grad school, it's going to be harder to find a job. It's just we're just going to put it plain and simple. It's not something that holds much value in the long run.
Okay, let's see. Um, so what do you think your strengths are?
Recently, I would say I'm really good at just getting things done, at least for me, as quickly as possible. And I think a couple people said that too. Um, Also, I've realized this for myself, but my ability to just whenever somebody asks me for the time at work, like I always give them like a rough estimate, and it would like always be either 1 or 2 minutes short, but they're like most of the time it's been like pretty accurate, and I've been like internally celebrating that, but it's just I'm just tooting my own horn. But I would say my most biggest strength is just getting things done and trying to get things done at like a quick map, just in a quick and efficient way.
Can you give some examples of how you've done that?
Yeah, like since I I work at Chick-fil-A while going to school, there have been times where even though like we've been behind on schedule, like I was able to get us out in 30 minutes. And that's and most of the time when we have a shift lead, like I would also suggest tasks that need to be done. And I would sometimes step in and do them just to keep us going like at a steady pace and so that we can get out at a decent time because I don't like sitting there after a long time, like after closing, especially after an hour of closing, because I have to go home and do homework. I have to go home and do homework, and then the next day I have to wake up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and then go to those classes. And I don't want to have to. I don't want to get up tired or be tired in the morning just just because we got out late. Like no. So I try to at least get get us to at least towards like 7 o'clock when past the rush. Because I know when we're in a rush, like we don't think about the tasks that we need to do. So like I would go behind the scenes and try to get them done while everybody else is focused on making orders. Because I my role at Chick-fil-A is just basically just general. So like whatever they come in, I'd be like, hey, like what do you need for me to do? And they say, okay, you can do this, this, and this. But sometimes I would do the things that they don't ask me to do. And then whenever they ask like who wants to do it, I can just go up to them and say, hey, it's already done.
How many hours do you normally work?
About 43.
Oh, and do you have a full class load too?
No, about 9 hours.
Okay.
But like sometimes like on my days off, which I shouldn't do this. I try to fit in extracurricular activities, and then towards the nighttime, like I am focused specifically on homework. So like I would try to submit my homework by Wednesday nights. So it gives me because I know that they're due Friday, and so it gives me time to like focus on work, so I'm not thinking about deadlines. So basically, like from Tuesday to Wednesday night, I'm just fitting as much homework in at that time. Or sometimes I do them like a week early. It just depends on the mood and how I'm feeling at the time.
What would you say are your weaknesses?
Um, Not keeping an organized space. Like, and this is actually why I ended up leaving Chick-fil-A for the first time, and then I went to another job because it was like this one boss or like this one manager. She kept like nagging me about it, and I know that it's not like something that you shouldn't leave because of that. It's just it's like the constant like months and months and months. And then I even like went to like the head boss and was like, hey, like this person is bothering me. Like this person's bothering me. I don't like dealing with this person. And then instead of like dealing with the issue, they kind of just like threw it under the rug. And it's like to the point where, and it got me to the point where I just became sick, like physically sick, because the person like imagine that you're waking up in the morning and then they send you a text message at 6 a.m. about something that you missed the other day, rather than telling you when you got there. And it's just like, why wouldn't you just tell me when you get there so I can see it and we can go through the process together? But instead, it just seemed like whatever they did just felt petty. And I've had like other instances too, not at work, but where I guess like roommates not necessarily nagging at me, but other people about not keeping a clean space or whatever. But I feel personally attacked by it, and it has like nothing to do. Like it had nothing to do with me, and I eventually I apologized to that person about it. But it's just for some reason it just felt as if it was which sounds narcissistic. It felt like it was targeted towards me, which you get what I'm saying?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if people are around me, like I try to be conscious about it. I try to at least work on it. But if but it's something that I can also get very like, have a short fuse about it, and people will be like, "That's no big deal," but to me, it's like it is a big deal because it's like it's something that I'm trying to do or trying to be better at, and then you just like throwing it back in my face. But I digress.
Do you get angry much?
Recently I've been trying to not get angry. I've been trying to like control it, but I at least like in public spaces I try to. But I mean, in private spaces it's a little bit harder because it's like obviously no one's watching you, but I try to at least stay calm because that's what I taught. It's like I was taught to at least whenever you whenever you have problems with something, at least try to like stay calm and then figure it out. Or like if somebody's like I would say conflict. If you deal in conflict, staying calm would be a lot better because it's like if you react to it, then it gives them leverage. It gives them kind of like something that they can like bite onto because they know that it pisses you off and they can just push that button. So you're trying to use calmness to also mitigate, you know, potential conflict or at least use it as like some sort of defense. I would say defense mechanism. Yeah, that sounds about right.
You think of some other times when you got angry?
Oh, I mean, obviously when I'm playing Valorant, when people are not listening to my call outs, whenever people order these fucking mukbangs like at work, like and it will be like 20 minutes before closing. And so we would have to like 20 minutes before closing, like we're trying to get everything back so that the dish person can wash it on time. But if somebody come by, and this also like around 9:40, 9:45, like the breader stops dropping chicken, right? And so we're trying to do our last call, and then somebody go in the drive-thru and they order like, I don't know, 10 sandwiches, and then they ordered like three large macs. And I was like, what the fuck? Like what is this? And it's like, why didn't you come like an hour earlier when we still had a bunch of stuff? It's just that stuff right there would like piss me off.
Do you express that anger?
Try not to, but sometimes I just I mean, sometimes I do, but I mean, but then other people they would just relate. They'll just be like, I know, right? And then we just go on back and forth about it. Even the supervisors, they would say the same thing, but it's a matter of you can't do it too much because you don't want to you don't want to be that only person that's like complaining and then everybody else is just, kind of fine. Like they're all right. They don't really care about it.
Yeah.
So I try to use discretion.
What other video games do you play?
Path of Exile, of well, I did say Valorant. I'm playing R6, Dark. I also play Dark Tide. I played both Dark Tide and Vermintide. I played a little bit of Civ 6. Playing No Fear as of right now. I played Divinity 2. I think I got to Act 3 of Baldur's Gate. I promise you, if I go back to Baldur's Gate, I'm literally gonna start a whole new game. Uh, what else did I play? Dead by Daylight. I was on the esports team for that. Mm, Final Fantasy, I had like at least 400 something hours in that. Because I did like constant Savage raids. Um, and that's about it. That's about it.
That's pretty hardcore stuff.
I mean, well, whenever I play, it's usually because other people will get me into it, but then they would stop playing, and then like I would end up going trying to like for example, my friends they play Dark Tide, and after they stopped playing, it was they treat it as like a casual. I don't. Like when they stopped playing, I started running doing org runs, like Maelstrom, before I went to Havoc, and I just spam Psyker because that's the class that I wanted to get good at. And I remember I used to when we were it's like during summer break, I just played it. Like anytime that I got off work, like I just played it like probably until like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just spamming raids. Eventually I got good at it, and like probably maybe like a month or two, I was able to do Havoc without. I think it's like after two, you can't get more than two deaths because Striker's like the squishiest class. You can't get more than two deaths because if you do that, then that means that you're not ready for Havoc. Um, so I used to do a lot of runs. Sometimes I did like no sound runs too. So it's pretty cool, but
What was it like being on an esports team?
we practice a lot and there's a lot of getting yelled at, but I know in order to join, you have to have at least like 1,000 hours in the game. And that was like when, like a minimum of 1,000, because some of the people played and they had like 7,000 hours. And I haven't played since beta. Like I think I started on PS4 in 2017. And I was like playing on and off until about 2022. So that was like 5 years. And then I started back playing, I think fall 2024. Like I think I just downloaded the game. I just heard like, oh, we have a Dead by Daylight esports team. I was like, cool. And then I just downloaded the game. I just came and tried out and made the team, which was, it's pretty cool. I wouldn't say that I was the best on the team, but I was more of like I was kind of upper average of like all of the people who were on the team.
What made you stop doing that?
Oh, just work. Just yeah, it was hard to balance having like 43 hours. But that was when I was at the other job because I think during that time I cut my hours down to just 30. So it was a lot manageable. And I was able to go through other clubs too, like chess club and math club. Yeah, we had a math club where we did like Putnam competitions.
Yeah,
Well, we had not competitions, but they were like exams, but we had math competitions.
right. I studied math, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I took the Putnam a few times.
How did you do?
I did okay. I mean, uh, but so like at your job, you said you do like you have like a general role. So what
Yeah,
exactly do you do? Like,
shit, whatever they want me to do. Sometimes they'll throw me on breading. No, not breading. I think I did breading like once. They'll tell me to run trash, or sometimes they put me on dish. Sometimes they put me on nuggets to help such and such. Sometimes they would throw me on fries, or have me, I don't know, I think it's like do the walk in, like where we scrub the walk in. It's most of the time it's just kind of like filling in, and I don't mind going back and forth, bouncing back and forth. I actually like it because it keeps me busy. Um, but I know this Christmas break, since all of the students are home, it's been rough. I've been, it's just been so dead and quiet. Like it's just, there's just nothing. You're just sitting in the same spot for 8 or 9 hours, and it's just is grueling. And sometimes they try to cut people because of like the labor is too high. But usually the people who get here first, leaves first. So a lot of the times I never get cut because I'm there from like two to until close. And then other times when let's say that I have like some places I'm about to go or like out of town, I'll run like a 5 a.m. to like close shift or like 5 to 11 close shift. And then I'll probably do that back to back and just sleep on the way to wherever event that I'm going to.
You work from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m.?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times.
Wow.
Like back then, before they told us that we couldn't do that, bro, I was like the double shift king. Like I did it. I ran. There's one time I did it 3 days in a row. Like, and I was miserable, but like, hey, there was nobody to take those shifts. I took them, and I got compensated well for them. So it's, I mean, they don't let me do that anymore, but I to this day I still I would still do I would still do a double shift if they offered it.
Have you done any other kinds of jobs?
Yeah, like a restaurant. Like but I was a line cook there, and I didn't stay there. I stayed there up for up to 9 months. One, because the pay wasn't good, and then two, it's whenever a boss tells you on the first week that you're one of their best employees, that's a red flag. And so I was kind of like, as soon as he said that, I was trying to make my way out. I was really trying to make my way
Wow.
out because, and there was these two people that to this day I just did not like. One of them, he ended up getting fired, and the reason why he got fired is just because he just never did any work. And so my first week, he was there to train me, and he kept telling me like, "Oh, this is like this job is simple. Like this job is simple. Like don't sweat it." And so I was listening to him, and I kept getting in trouble. And so I just stopped. I stopped listening to him, and then I started, I think, working harder to the point where I just like overworking myself because I didn't realize that like the the workers they're treated like when they when you take their shifts and give shifts like it almost operated like a currency. So like if you start taking people's shift like once they'll start asking you again and again and again. And I was just picking up shifts left and right to the point where I was having like 78 hours for over 2 weeks. And I was just like doing that back and back. And it's just, and eventually I think the first or second month I just got burnt out. And like these guys are not working at all and they barely show up to work. And it's just kind of, and I think that was like a good reminder to just tell people no. If if you feel like you don't want to do something, just tell people no. And if they don't respect it, then that's too bad for them. I just had to learn how to say no to picking up shifts because they were like candy to me, and I was getting obsessed with it. But yeah, I think I just did it because for the work too. Like I wanted something to do.
You did you not have anything else to do or
Well, it's the thing is so like when I'm at home, like if I can't find something to do, I would just sleep. But then my but then when I sleep, like I don't feel rested because like I'm doing too much of like it's only I don't know. It's whenever I'm not like for example, yesterday I got off work around 5. And so I slept and then I played video games and as you know, as an attempt to unwind. And then like I end up getting tired out from that. So like I never got the rest that I needed. And then today, I was off today. I just like I was going to visiting family. So I never actually got a day off from to just rest because I'm still I don't know because I'm just moving around, going to people's houses and stuff like that. So it's just
Yeah. Okay. Um, oh, I noticed you got really into fashion, I think, more
yes,
recently.
it's because people kept complimenting me, and I just kept. And when people compliment me, I just kept doing it. It started, dude. I think it started during the summer because normally I didn't care, but like after I was like, okay, I just it okay, these people they I got paid compliments, so I just kind of started doing it more and more. But I think I've always had that ability. It's just from because of my mom. She always nagged me as a kid eh, to just like my both my mom and my dad. My dad he used to always buy me dress shoes, and then my mom, she just basically just nagged because I used to wear stuff that was like uncoordinated, and she would not let me go to school. And then eventually I just started, subconsciously wearing things that like I would only wear blue on blue, like different shades of blue. And then eventually it became I guess like a skill. Um, but I noticed when I think when I had like a little bit more money, then I started, at least exploring or investing in like proper attire, just in case I need it. Um, I can tell you the process if you want.
Yeah, sure.
So like whenever I buy like new things, like specifically, I tend to lean towards old money looks. I would always start by buying black, khaki, and navy. And then I would do that for both sweaters and pants, so I can kind of like, mix and match them. And then like I'll probably get something like brown or get like more. I'll start with neutral colors and then I might expand. Um, During seasons, I was particularly pick clothes for that season. Or like for pants, I would only get athletic pants just in case. Uh, if I lift, I don't want to buy pants too frequently, so I'll get pants that I know that will stretch as my muscles grow. Um, Shoes, I would always get maybe a brown and then a black set of shoes. And then I'll also get like a set of casual shoes. And then I'll get, oh yeah, just, or I'll probably get like some more dress shoes and I'll kind of like repeat the process back and forth. And then as for earrings, I just typically buy whatever that's cheap. Because the point is to present. It's not, I don't think that I buy it it's just because I want to look, I feel like, and I know this sounds bad, it's just because I want I guess, to be recognized or at least have a good first impression on people whenever they look at me.
Mhm. So it's not so much for your own like taste or something.
Not real. Well, I know the clothes I choose, I like them. It's but in terms of presenting them, I feel like it's for the people and not myself because I don't do things, and I've realized this growing up, and my mom had to like tell me this a lot. Whenever I purchase things, I never feel good about the purchase. I always feel like, oh, I feel like this is expensive. But then my mom was like, as long as you love it, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. Well, she's wrong in some parts. But I I am starting to lean more like, okay, it, if I love it and I have the resources to get it, then I should get it, and I should be happy about it. But it's a process that I'm going through. It's definitely a process.
So, I mean, you work a lot, so what else do you spend your money on?
Um, Either just I'll probably like upgrade my tablet or well, I had one tablet and it was like glitching. So I upgraded my tablet and then recently I upgraded my tablet to like the iPad with the M5 chip. And then I upgraded my phone to the 17 Pro Max. And then I think within a year, I plan on upgrading my laptop because I've had that laptop for about 3 or 4 years. I plan on upgrading that one to like the M4 chip, the uh the MacBook Pro M4 chip. I'm trying to see whether do I want 10 cores or more because I plan on doing a lot of coding and I want to make use of how many cores that I'm going. I want to make use of the cores that I'm going to be paying for. Um, and I think in the future I plan on upgrading my PC as well. But I that's in the far future. I don't. It's not something within months. I mean, but I can expedite it. But it's not something that I plan on getting right away.
Did you say you wanted to do more coding?
Yeah, because like when I was taking partial DE, we had to do a coding project. I realized I was severely lacking. I was like, because we were also doing numerical analysis, and I was lost. I was because the way he had the class, dude. This was like the first time I had to like resort to asking like other class members like how to do something because it. I usually don't ask people for help, and in turn with things like that. Like I typically don't ask people hey, could you help me with that? Or nor do I collaborate. Most of the time, I do fairly well just by doing the work on my own. Like I never had to really ask for, in terms of tasks, I never had to ask for assistance in completing tasks. And I usually get it done.
But did you what kind of language were you using?
Python. And then I was also trying to do like MATLAB, and my simulations would not work. And I almost like pulled my hair out because it was like the due date was a day. And I knew that I had to like go to work from 2 to 11. I think I probably called out that day, which I typically don't call out that much. So I think I did call it out that day and I spent all day working on it.
Um, so like you were talking about like philosophy before, like that's how you kind of went from philosophy to math. Is that right?
Yes.
So yeah, can you talk about that?
Oh, when I was in those philosophy classes, I slept. I slept. Um, During the time, I did feel bad about it because I knew that the teacher, I knew that he knew. It's just, but the thing was, I was still getting like B's. Like I wasn't getting like a poor grades in it because all we did was write papers. And I kid you not, towards my junior and senior year, I was taking philosophy classes back to back, and they would have like these final papers. We didn't have final exams, we just had papers. And we were having papers back to back, and there was like 10 to 12 pages. And so I remember that time I had a paper that was due, it was like a Tuesday, and another paper was due Wednesday. And then there was like two papers due Friday. And so what I did was go to Walmart and I got like these, they're not Adderall, but they're like strangely close to it. And so I got that and I like literally sat at the computer just all day, like from morning. And I think I stopped at like 10. And so not only that, like I was scheduling like meetings with the writing center as well, just to like make sure that it's, it's cohesive. And so I was like writing them, doing drafts and whatnot. And it's just like eventually just I think I got one A and all the rest of them were B's. But it was that was in the far past. But was there something else that you wanted to know about philosophy?
Well, yeah, I guess like do you have any specific interests within philosophy, or is it just kind of interesting?
Um, when I started, it was more so because I kept changing. It was because I kept changing majors, and the reason why I was changing majors was because someone was like, "Oh, you should explore." Now, if I were to go back in the past, I would have told myself, "Do not do that." I would go find something that you actually enjoy and just stick to it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad at it. Like over time, you'll get better. But but I would say that my specific interests lie in like analytic philosophy, which for some reason we didn't have many classes at that university for for like I think we just only had like an introduction to logic. There was no symbolic logic. The things that I was like interested in, there was none of that class, none of those classes.
Okay, so what about friends? Like, who do you hang out with?
Um, hmm. Honestly, it depends. I would say I have a decent size. I typically hang out with my friends from church. Um, I have coworkers. I have friends that are coworkers, but I don't hang out with them outside of work. I try to make boundaries for that because I know that 70% of the people at my work, they all hang out together. They all go to parties together. They all drink and smoke together. And I tried to make a boundary. It's like, hey, look, I don't do any of that stuff. And they said it's fine. Um, and I try to keep those, try to be cordial and be friendly towards them, and never had any problems with them. Just try to keep like you know like a straight arm, kind of like 6 feet like COVID, away from them. But my actual friends are people that I hang out with on Tuesday nights and also Sunday nights. Now, there is one friend that I absolutely adore. And I'll tell you the story. We actually met in abstract algebra. And I remember he got sick. And so he asked me for his notes. And I didn't know him at the time. Um, and so I gave him my notes, and then I gave him, I think, notes for like the next couple of days. And then I end up seeing him like a week later at my church. And after that, we've been really good friends. We've been sitting beside each other and all of that stuff. Uh, but I don't, but what I really want out of a friendship is a friendship that I can be authentic with. Like I want somebody that I can just that I don't feel like I have to like hide my opinions from. Like it's just somebody that I can just be straightforward with and not have to play like, oh, will they like this? Will they like what I say? Will they not like what I say? Just straight, just like, here's how I feel about this topic. Because, and the reason why I say this is because a week or two ago, another one of my friends, we were eating and she asked me, do I ever feel out of place? And to her, the first time she said it, I said no. And then I thought about it and then I kind of like opened up to her. It's like, yeah, I kind of do feel out of place because I feel like I'm not grounded in like the present moment. Because like to me, being here now, I should have already thought what I was gonna do for the day. Like to me, it's like the present is late and then past it's like it no longer exists to me. Like I only care about the future and what will happen. And that's why I try to like plan, not plan. to a huge degree, but simply have like a rough idea on like how I'm gonna go throughout the week and maybe even like if I'm inspired, like maybe like a couple months later or even a year later. Um, but yeah, I was telling her like how like I don't I feel like I can't be open with people because of how I grew up with my family. It's like when I was w- talking to my mom like as a kid, like whenever I expressed like an honest opinion, it's like she almost reacted. I don't know the word. It's just violently, not physically, but more like emotionally volatile. And so eventually, like, and my brother was the same way, but he was different. He was the type that even though you tried to tell him something right, he just did whatever he wanted to do. And that's, I mean, by all means you can do that, but don't try to enforce it on me. And so how I lived my life because of these people, like I started people pleasing, and it took me after moving out from staying with them, like I've learned to just I'm still learning to just not like I don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with people. I don't have to say yes to them. I don't have to do anything. And if there's conflict, there's just conflict. I don't have to, be I can just cut them out from my life and it's we can go our separate ways. Fine, I can just kind of create different, distances from them, put people around them, navigate around them. And if they want to be confrontational, we can sit down and talk about it. It's not something that like I'm against. Um, but yeah, but I do have friends who kind of annoy me a little bit. There's this guy that I adore him to death. I love him to death. We so one time we were sitting, we were having a potluck, and so I plan on having him sit right next. This is a different friend, by the way. I We can call him Rob. I wanted to sit by him. And so I prepared a chair for him and everything. He sat down for 5 seconds because he's scatterbrained. He'll get up, he starts like walking around the room, just start talking around to people. I was like, dude, I literally planned for you to sit right here. I even set up so where you could sit exactly right here, and I can just start having developed relationships, asking conversations because I'm bad at it. I'm trying to get better at it. Um, and I'm trying to like ask him, questions about himself and stuff like that. And he just gets up and leave. And I'm just like, what the heck? And then I asked, my other friends about him. He said, oh, it's just Rob. And, I've come to accept it and I know that that's just him. So like anytime that like he gets up and move, I try to get up and move. If I want to talk to him, I will talk to him at any cost. But yeah,
Um, yeah, so you mentioned like the other friend that you met in algebra.
yeah.
So like what do you like about him or dislike?
It's just he has a very dry humor. Um, what I do like, this guy, he he's an aerospace engineer, but he's doing, I think, he's doing a double major in math. And so I think he has a couple classes left. But this guy, he does projects on projects on projects, and then he does like 16-hour classes or 16 credit hours. And I'm just like, dude, instead of working, like that's where I wanted to be. Like I think I was envious of like the amount of like skills he was gaining because to me having those classes would have felt like I was catching up because like I had to go back to school. Like I went back to school in order to pursue a math degree. So it felt like so to me it felt like I was behind. And so if I were to take those classes, it would have felt like I was slowly catching up with the rest of the bunch. And so that was something that like I admire. Like this dude, he's a hard worker. Yeah.
Is there anything you dislike about him?
Uh, I would say he can complain a little bit too much. There's this thing that he does. Like, and I've noticed this when we went to Texas together. So like I thought that he was like this guy that was like his head was in the cloud. Like he knows how to set up a he knows how like to set up his bunk in a way that's like most comfortable as possible. And so I thought that like I was getting like I had my stuff made like to where like I can be as but like no, he just blew me out of the water and my measly sleeping bag just felt like crap. And then there's like this other time we went over Rob's house to I think it's like eat sandwiches and like soup. And this guy, he just like perfectly put his like scoop this stool up and it was like at the right height so he can like eat his food. And I'm like, what the heck? Like who just thinks of this? To just like be able to like perfectly put everything in a comfortable position. And I'm just like, and I'm just sitting here just like eating while standing up and I'm just thinking that, oh, this is fine. It's like, dude, it's like I'm so I won't say I'm jealous of it. It just never occurred to me until today that like this guy, he just could be able to like move around in life and just be able to make things work for him. But he also complained about like time, like managing time. He was like, if he got sick, like he was gonna be cooked. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, you had to just move a couple things around it would have been fine. And he's like, and then he just blew off whatever I said. And I was like, whatever. But it still love him to death though.
So what is this place you're in right now, this room? Like,
It's a study room in my apartment complex because I did not want to. I didn't want to do the Zoom call because I didn't have a camera hooked up to my PC, and also our walls are paper thin in the apartment, and so my roommates could be asleep. Don't want to bother them, so I just went here. Um, Honestly, if you would have done the meeting earlier, I would have been outside. I would have been outside before it got dark, and then we could have had the meeting then. But I mean, I knew that this place exists. So when you said 8 p.m., I said perfect. So like I knew different places to go like if you threw out a random time, like I knew where to go. It wasn't so I even asked for like the code because I forgot the code. I asked for it a day in advance to make sure that like I didn't have to run through a bunch of variations until I got it. But yeah, it's fine.
yeah, I remember you did your typing video outside. That was kind of interesting.
Yes, because I was trying to get away because at the time I was trying to get away from my mom because she kept asking me for she kept asking me questions and at the time I didn't like her. At the time I didn't like her because it was like the first beginning of like me starting college and she didn't contribute anything towards my finances for paying for college. And so how are you gonna have a say over what major I want to do if you didn't pay 1 cent for it. So so I've been trying to like get away from her during that time. I've been trying to get away from her like as much as possible. And then she went through the like, oh, you must hate me and stuff like that. And like little small things that she did that just irritated me because whenever I would go and like after class, like whenever I would go and buy food, I would typically go buy something because I didn't feel like cooking at home. It's just I felt like it was just too much time. Like she would always say, "Oh, you didn't bring me anything." But if I brought you something every single day, then I would be spending twice as much. And so there have been some days that I had to say no. And then whenever I said no, she was like, "Oh, you don't think about me, or y'all don't think about me as enough." And it's like, that's not true. And so eventually I just kind of had like a dislike. But after I moved out, our relationship improved. Like I talk to her almost daily. So
Okay. Um, have you taken any like significant leadership roles?
um they asked me to be a team lead and I turned it down. And the reason why is just because the bosses there, when things get very busy, they tend to observe and not put their foot, like they tend to run uh shift leads and team leads around in a circle. And the team leads look like headless chicken. And then whenever the team leads or shift leads get something wrong, they get infractions for it. And I think that that's something that a leader should not do. You shouldn't just sit around and observe. I feel like if in order to have people respect you, you have to get your hands dirty. At at, at, in any case, that would be the leader I would want to be. And I feel like and this particular thing irritates me about one of my bosses. Whenever and it's always just weird timing he does this. Like, okay, so like I'm doing they give us like a checklist or like a list of tasks that we have to complete. And so I'll be trying to complete them. And then when I get to this spot, think at first no one is there. And then I get there, one of my bosses is leaning where I need to get. The first time I tell him, okay, hey, could you move? I need to get there. He said, oh, and then he moved out of the way. Then the next thing he does the same thing. I was like, why do you keep doing the same thing where every time I need to get somewhere, and it's not just him, it's other people who do this too. They'll lean on things, but then when they see workers do that, they call them out for it. It's like you can't do that. That's hypocritical. And I think I've gotten in trouble with calling a boss out on like their BS for it. And it's just I didn't get like an infraction. They just gave me the silent treatment, which I mean, like you have to be I feel like you need to be you need to meet the standards that you set for other people.
Yeah. All right, so I think I know your type. I mean, I had a pretty good idea of it, before we started.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so yeah, I still think you're ILE.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that you also got typed LII at one point, right? Yeah, so I mean, I was considering that as an alternative. Yeah, just from my interactions with you and watching your video back in the day, like I think you are like, you do seem to be a very exploratory kind of person, intellectually and uh what else? Yeah, I mean, your interests are sort of typically, like philosophy, math, that kind of thing is sort of typical, just as one, observation. But also, like the way you interact with people, I think you're definitely very attuned to like I don't think you take negative emotions very well, and you can be sensitive to how other people react to you, like, and that's kind of a typical alpha tendency, I think. And I like, even you mentioned yourself being like a kind of people pleaser. I like that you brought that up, because I that was something I was thinking, but it was good confirmation. And yeah, just like having trouble saying no, I think probably ILEs struggle more with that, and maybe even ESEs too, just because they're more emotionally malleable than LIIs or maybe even SEIs, because they're just having more FE and less FI, they have more, less of a sort of like stable sense of self that, like I like this or I don't like this, but that it's good that you've sort of like developed that over time, the ability to just know what you want and yeah, but also like so I really I don't know why you were typed LII exactly, but I did see like you seem to work a lot, like way more than I would expect an LII to, like with SE vulnerable and TE ignoring. I think ILEs can be kind of, workaholics. I mean, alpha extroverts, really most extroverted types can be workaholics. And yeah, like you said, you like you even do, like I mean your job is not really intellectual at all. It's like, you can't just it's not just like sitting somewhere and, on your butt. It's like you gotta move around, you gotta, respond to things in the moment and it's physical, it's probably, somewhat physically demanding. From I mean I worked in food service a little bit and I kind of understand what's involved. And yeah, you just like you seem very proactive, like you take initiative doing things that they don't even ask you to do. Like, that's I think speaks a lot to your initiative and um what else? Yeah, I mean yeah, I do think like you can express negativity sometimes, but it's mostly about when people are being like, confrontational or like, annoying in some way to you personally. And I think you do tend to, try to keep it to yourself mostly and not, confront people on it. And yeah, you mentioned a lot of persistent problems with like, getting rest. Like you feel like, you're always kind of doing something, even if it's just, playing video games for, like I don't know, 6 hours straight or something. And also when you're talking about fashion, like it was interesting to me how you talked about it. Like you started off by talking about how people compliment you, and like it's like very you're thinking a lot about your presentation, and it's I think that's more the FE part of it. SI is more about your personal taste. Like what kinds of clothes or whatever looks that you like. Like I don't think about how other people are reacting to my style, but I come at it more from a lens of what I personally like. And yeah, what else? I mean, you seem to be a reasonably techie kind of, person. You know about all some of the specs and stuff like that. I guess it has to do with, gaming and stuff like that.
Well, it's also because like I don't want to spend $2,000 on something that like so I'm going to know about the specs. I'm going to look them up. It's not, especially for like a laptop that has like an M4 chip. Like I'm not wasting money on that if it's not, if I don't know what I'm getting. So it's, but also speaking of like conflict, I wouldn't say this is conflict, but I've like recently, so when I got my hair done, and this is like a funny story too. I sat down because my stylist, she tried to like, she pushed my time up earlier than I would originally. So I think I got up. So but for context, we drove 8 hours to Kentucky to my friend's wedding, and as soon as we ate, we drove 8 hours back. And so I went to sleep, and then I woke up around 9, and I was spent that time like we got back at around 2, and I woke up at 9. And then I was like doing like my hair for about 4 or 5 hours straight. And so as I was sitting down, I was finishing my last braid, and so this lady, she wasn't even part of a thought process, and she was like, and she was like the same skin color as I. She was like, "You're not gonna steal from me, are you?" And I just gave her the side eye, and I just held the side eye until she cracked, and she said she was just joking. And I just like no, don't play with me. Like seriously, like your hair is beat up, my hair is beat up. Like let's connect the dots because obviously there's no critical thinking skills there. And she even pushed further. Like when the lady was obviously doing my hair and deep conditioning my hair, like she was sitting right beside me. She started holding her purse up to her chest like she was clutching her pearls. I was like, girl, I don't want anything in your purse. I really don't. I was like, don't make me wait until you finish your silk press and spray water on it. Like that's not like please. That actually it pissed me off every time, but looking back on it, it was funny.
So wait, did what did Jack type you?
I only
Iley. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what most people were in favor
Yeah,
of.
it's
Yeah. All right. So any other questions?
oh, how did you go through like the process of like typing?
Like,
No, like whenever you do typing videos, like how do you go through? Is it like a methodical, or is it just kind of like you just picking and seeing like what stands out? Or is it like sporadic?
yeah, so I mean, I have a list of questions on, on my website. I have a questionnaire, which I originally designed for people to do videos with on their own. But I still use that quite a bit. Like I'm not one of those people who just, does totally free form. I'm just more comfortable with, some kind of rubric to work from. But as we go further into the interview, you know, I'm going to have more information about certain areas, and there's going to be other areas that I have more of a blind spot. I'm trying to, figure it out, get more information. So it's as you go on, I'll be thinking more about how to target those blind spots or, areas where I don't have the information yet. Like, I mean, this one, I don't think it was that hard. Like you talked pretty freely about, all kinds of things. So it wasn't that hard. Some people you have less of a clear idea or, people, especially, obviously someone who I haven't met before, I'm gonna have less of an idea of their type going in. So
I think the reason for why I was like typed like LII was because I'm not a social. I'm not very social.
mhm.
I tend to spend my energy just doing stuff rather than talk. I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like I don't have to talk to you unless there's a reason for me to talk to you, and that's just how I am. And and usually it's just kind of that's where I circle back to the question where the person, well, my friend, she asked me like, did I ever feel left out? Because usually I would come into the conversation, say like one or two things, and not just exit. It's just kind of like just quick, easy, just kind of in and out. But usually whenever I stand around, like I'm not the center. I'm just because it's easy for me to just fade out. Like I can just kind of fade out and go
Yeah.
do something else. It's not. I'm not socially obligated to be there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do think you are pretty socially introverted. Like, some ILEs, like, like Jack, for example, are very bright and expressive. Even now, I think you're pretty low key. I don't know if this is how you usually are, but you seem, I could see how someone might think you're low energy, socially at least.
Yeah, there's no reason to talk, and there's no reason to talk. I'm not gonna force myself to talk. I mean, silence is good too,
Yeah.
especially in places, especially when places when people try you or try to get under your skin, when you can just make silence as a weapon. Just
Wow. But yeah, I think a lot of ILEs are like that. They're pretty, or other types like IEE or they can be pretty socially introverted. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, so I guess if that's it, can stop there. So
yeah. Well, have a good rest of your day. I'm about to go play some more games and probably eat something because I haven't. Well, I did eat around like two, but time is it now? It's like eight, nine.
and 9 over.
I'll probably eat in like 2 hours if I don't forget. But
All right, and if you ever want me to do the report, just let me know
I'm not. I do not. I'm not gonna do
okay.
it
Okay.
because yeah, because I'm not trying to be broke before the New Year's because I have to go get some stuff for friends, especially when we're doing fireworks. Yeah, it's we plan on having like a party for New Year's and I was giving we usually have like a list of things that we need to buy, and I'm not gonna be broke, so I can spend more time buying stuff for them.
All right, sounds
Yes,
good.
yeah. All right, see you.
All right, see ya. Have a good night.